before you leave, and I'm 40, mind you, 39, almost 40. Before you leave, I need you to get me pregnant.
Hola chicos y chicas, gracias por ver nuestro podcast otra vez. Hoy tengo un huésped, un guest muy importante y muy orgullosa de tenerla aquí, que es Indiana Rivera, y ella ha creado un espacio para nosotras, gente de color, latinas, latinos, para decir nuestras propias historias. Por eso, en inglés se dice Publishing House, es una empresa de para publicar libros y escrituras, pero tiene muchos negocios. Ese es uno de tantos de los que tiene, pero eso nos va a hablar de ella misma. Pero lo más importante que quiero que ustedes entiendan, que este espacio para nosotros, los latinos y latinas, no existe. Y nunca ha existido, todavía no existe, y si existe, muy poco, y existe por gente como ella. Por eso, cuéntanos, ¿cómo llegaste? Primero cuéntanos de ti, dinos dónde naciste, de dónde vienes, qué es tu historia.
Pues mil gracias por esta invitación. Mi papá es de Puerto Rico, llegó aquí a los 10 años, mi mamá de Nicaragua, vino a los 12 años y cuando ella cumplió 15 se conocieron, se casaron y yo llegué cuando ella tenía 17 años.
Oh, jovencita tu madre.
Ya. Yo soy la primera de 5.
Oh, wow.
Y empezamos la vida en San Francisco y mis padres fueron muy trabajadores. Y yo vi que mi papá, cada día se levantaba con tanta fuerza para, cuidarnos. Mi mamá también trabajó muy duro en la casa, cuidándonos nosotros y también los primos de la familia.
Oh, ella era la hermana en que todo el mundo venía a dejar a sus hijos.
¿Y sabes qué? La única hermana de 10. Oh. Tenía 9 hermanos. Wow. So, a ella le tocó todo. Mira, ya voy a empezar a llorar. I never put it like that in my mind before that because she was the only girl, it all fell on her.
Oh my God, that's a lot. But, and then she helped raise your cousins?
Yes, so she was the second and then, 8 more followed. But, you have 9 brothers and Latinos, do the math, that's a lot of kids.
Not just that, she's also looked upon as a mom,
yes,
right?
As a
mom. She's looked upon as part of the matriarch, kind of, sort of, but with so many responsibilities of, the machismo culture that we come from.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. So she helped raise.
A lot of my cousins. And, I saw my mom struggle because she was highly intelligent and she always dreamed that she wanted to be an attorney. Oh. And my poor mom didn't even get the chance to graduate from high school. Because she married young and she had me. And so I would see, and I grew up with my mother. Imagine she's 17, I'm born, she's 18, I'm 1. By the time she was 30, we were the same age.
Absolutely.
You know how that is?
I had my first at 25, and sometimes I feel like we're the same
age.
Right.
It just gets to the point where who's the mother, who's the daughter, right? But so I saw my mom really struggle with her dreams constantly being squelched. Because her place was in the kitchen. Her place was in the house, and it wasn't even spoken. It was unspoken.
And it was so unappreciated.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you, I stayed home, I think, 2 years of my children's life, and I was like, heck no. I was like, send me to work.
Yes.
It's easier.
Right.
Because I got more empathy and more help because I worked, but when I was staying home doing it 24/7, it was like, dude, this is easy. And I was like, no,
little do they know.
No, full this ain't easy. Yeah, it's the hardest job and it's the most unpaid job ever.
Yeah.
So, and she has 5 of her own.
Right.
And then helps her brothers raise. Wow.
Yeah, during the summers, we would have 8 or 12 kids, and my mom would cook for all of us and take care of all of us and take us to the park and to the pool, wherever she could just throw us outside to play.
Every family has that.
Right.
My sister was that for us.
Right.
Yeah, my sister was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sissy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So, in most families, you'll have, the haves and the have-nots, even
Yeah.
in our family. And I always wondered why the haves had the education and the money and the house a little bit nicer, and and you try not to be envious, but you can as a little kid, going, well, why do they get that and you're over here, and and then it took me a minute to realize, oh, it's not the women that are educated, it's the men. Like my male cousins were the ones allowed to go to college and start businesses. And I was like maybe 10 years old, and I go, well, why not me?
Good for you.
Well, yeah, 10 years old, my father said that I started with the Ike, and why not me?
¿Y por qué no yo?
No, mija, you got to help your mother, eres muy linda, y te vas a casar con alguien rico, y blah, blah. Like putting it all on the man, and that I had to use what God, according to what he says, gave me. And I'm like, what? That's the standard? And my dad goes, we don't know where you came from, because that was not a conversation anywhere in our family, right? And I was like, no. I said, I have aspirations. I want to do something different.
Let me ask you, what was your mom's reaction?
My mom, it was dual. It was proud and sad, thinking that I wouldn't, and that my dreams would be squashed like her dreams.
Oh.
So she goes, she's got my juice in her,
Yeah.
And so she didn't get to go to school and become an attorney. So she's like, neither is Indy. She's not going to be able to do it. And by the way, my mother's name is Indiana.
I was going to ask you, it is a very unique name, and it's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
How did your mom end up with Indiana?
Well, in Nicaragua, it's Indiana.
Yeah,
We would pronounce it that way, right? And apparently it's pretty common, which I didn't know.
Yo tampoco.
Yeah.
And I'm your neighboring country. Yo soy salvadoreña.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
okay.
And so apparently there's more Indianos out there. I think I've met one here my whole life.
You're my first.
Yeah.
You're my first.
Yeah, I'm your first. So Indiana, according to the stories of my grandmother, it means first queen.
Oh, love
So my mother was the first daughter, and she was hoping for more, and ended up with one.
Oh.
So Indiana was appropriate. So she got Indiana Carmen, named after my great-grandmother. And then when I was born, my mother wanted to name me Jessica after my father, whose name is Jesus. And my father's like, no, we're going to name her Indiana.
I love it.
And because she's our first queen, she's our first daughter. So they named me Indiana Reina.
See, I
Right,
saw that.
so,
Indiana Reina,
and
which
here
I love the name Reina and René
pretty.
for women.
Yeah.
I wanted to name my daughter René for women.
It's a pretty name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a strong name. I
It
think
is.
Reina is such a strong word. Of course, it means queen too in Spanish, but it's such a powerful name.
And and it matters,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
It matters. And so that's how I got my name. But, in America, I mean, Indiana or Indy. And sometimes, Indiana Jones. Temple of Doom.
I remember my parents moved us to the suburb from LA to the suburbs, and I met a little girl named Cindy K. And I was like, oh, I never had heard the K, right?
Yeah.
Except Mary Kay. I said that. I go, like K, like one name, like Mary Kay? And she says, yeah. And then she goes, what's your name? I said, Nancy. And she goes, I've never met a brown girl named Nancy.
Isn't that funny?
And I was like, I'm brown, girl.
Am I brown? I didn't know.
I've heard tan, I've heard morenita, I've heard caramel, but damn, brown. I was like, okay, and then it impacted me that my name was not common in the sense in the suburbs for a Latina to be named Nancy. Everybody wanted me to be named Guadalupe, Maria, or
exactly.
something like that. Which I love those names as well. And I always ask my mom, I was like, "Why'd you name me Nancy? Like, really?" And I was like, and she was like, "I like the name." I was like, "Okay." I go, that's what she came up with. But anyways, going back to you. Okay, so your mom. Wow, I tip my hat off to her, and I always say this in almost every podcast, but I am always so impressed by migrant women.
Yes.
Women that come to this country young and have to assimilate, get married young, or have to work. I cannot imagine going to a different country and having to do this.
I know.
I moved from LA County to Santa Cruz County, and I cried those 5 hours.
Sure.
I cried for 2 years
Right.
when my parents were just down the street. And so just to know the resilience, the strength that I sometimes feel like they don't even know they have, because they
Right.
just did, right? They just
Right.
do.
Right.
Because
There's no
other
choice.
choice, right? And
There's
they have
no
no
choice.
idea
Right.
that the strength that it takes to do, we are the beneficiaries of
Yes.
that. We are the women that can grow on top of that and learn from it.
Yes. And I
this is
feel
what
to
you do.
honor our mothers
Absolutely.
and grandmothers and great-grand is to do something with that privilege and that gift. Yes?
Yes.
And my
yes.
mother came at 12 years old. My grandmother could only afford to send one child at a time. She packed her little lunchbox. She said she had a metal lunchbox. She put her on the plane by herself. My mother had never been on a plane in her entire life. There she is crying on an airplane from Nicaragua to San Francisco, wondering. She never got on a plane again, by the way. That freaked her out. And then it was very shocking. And then so she came and made my
Where did she
mother
come
rest in
to?
my mother rest in peace.
Oh.
We lost her, this last year. She ended up coming to my tío and tía's house, and they took care of her until my grandmother was able to bring the rest of them and come.
How long did that take?
Well, she ended up getting married before
mom.
but probably like 4 or 5 years, which really impacted her.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
right?
That to me is, and it's such. It is a common story, unfortunately, but it's always every story is so heart wrenching and individual, and so telling, and so formatting in the sense that, like, this created you, and like this molded your mother into
Yeah.
a young wife, to
Yeah.
a young mother, the
Yeah.
need to probably feel to make her own household. So she
Yes.
comes and meets
Yes.
your dad and says,
Yes.
okay, I need my own household, right? At 17.
At 17.
Right, 5 years later.
Yeah.
So like that, those stories to me are always so impressionable, because again, I cannot imagine.
Yeah.
And all I can do is really honor and keep on saying the strength of us, I can't include myself in this, of migrant women that we come from,
Right.
is so
it's
powerful.
in our DNA. So
It
I would
is.
say
It
us,
is.
right?
Oh, thank you for that.
You know
Thank
why?
you for
Because
that.
don't you find that you're a different kind of mother because of that?
Absolutely.
Don't you feel your ancestors coming out through
Yeah.
you?
Yes, and so a little bit of my ancestry. So I'm fourth generation entrepreneur. My daughter will be the 5th generation entrepreneur. Thank you.
Wow, very
Hence
cool.
the name Olivia's Heritage. But all the women in my mother's side are single. I'm the only married one.
Wow.
And so that's something we're hoping to change. But that tells you something, right? That these women don't put up with anything, that they feel, empowered by themselves. My great-grandma never remarried, and she was born in 1905. She was a widow at 33 and said, hell no, I ain't going to do this again. But and for me, it was really important for Giselle, my daughter, to go back to El Salvador and know where she came from.
Right.
So Giselle's gone back many times, because even though I didn't suffer what they suffered, the resonance of it still exists. Like
Absolutely.
my stubbornness, my aggression, my dukes are always up, my
Right.
defensiveness, right? Like my husband's like, damn, Nancy, relax, calm
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I will. My favorite phrase, I'll beat a bitch's ass.
Yeah.
Bring it to
Right,
me, right?
right,
And so
right.
and my husband was like, can you calm down? But I've had to dial that down, but it also makes me proud. I'm at the stage in my life, so that if ghetto's what you ask for, because I love it,
Yeah,
ghetto's
you're gonna
what
get
you
it.
get.
Yeah.
And I ain't embarrassed of it, because this is a picture of what I come from, how I was built, and why am I built, and it's my armor,
Right.
and I wear it proudly.
No.
And some people can be
Good for
embarrassed
you.
and turned off
No.
by it. But girl, I'm like, no.
No.
What do you want? How do
No.
you want? How do you want me to dish it up? Because I can dish it.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Just last week, that side of me came out that has been dormant. But someone did something to one of my daughters that was unacceptable to me.
Amen.
And that warrior mama came out
That's
in
right.
public, and everybody looked at me like, what? And I said, do not
That's right.
mess with my daughters
Yeah.
or my grandchildren.
Yeah.
And they were like, we didn't even know that was in there. I go, no. I call it when I need it.
That's
and
right.
it's back here, but don't think it's gone.
No.
Or
and
asleep.
You know what's my favorite phrase? You want to get to know me? Mess with my children.
Yes.
Mess with my children.
And you know what? That's the only place that comes out. Horrible things happen and people go, aren't you going to get upset? I go, we'll live, we'll pivot, we'll go.
And we'll move on, right?
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah, you have to.
All right. Wow, that's an amazing story. Now, tell me about your dad. Puerto Rican.
Yeah, my dad.
Are you a salsa lover though? Are you a salsera?
Yeah, I'm a salsera for sure. So, my dad looked a lot like Elvis Presley, why my mother decided to marry him.
Wow.
And my mom, believe it or not, was the Latina Marilyn Monroe. I should have brought their photo because you would have been like, you are not lying.
Oh.
And so the two of them got together and they were nothing but trouble, right? So my dad was a really, really good looking. He came out, he had 8 siblings. And I'm just going to be raw and real and tell you that our family were all Jehovah's Witnesses. Mm-hmm. And no disrespect to anyone who is, but it wasn't a good experience for me. And
Are you still Jehovah's Witness?
No. And my grandmother, his mother, was a pioneer. That's the word that they use. And she started and built the Kingdom Halls in Puerto Rico, and then she came to San Francisco, and that was her mission. And then my dad was part of that, and then he meets my mother, a Catholic. Conversation over, right? So then
that's some good stories,
right,
girl.
right?
Yeah. I can see why you became a publisher. I have some stories to tell. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So generation, and then I'm born into that, and I didn't realize until recently what a fighter my mom was, even without words.
Oh,
her behavior.
Your mom is smart.
Well, to finish her story quickly, she ended up getting her GED. She got her California real estate license. She became a real estate guru, and my mother died a wealthy woman. And we're like, you know what I mean? Come on now. I'm so proud of her.
Oh my God, really? And wait, and this raising 5 kids?
Yes.
Los
And
primos.
my dad was a warehouseman, his choice, Jehovah's Witness thinking. He drove a forklift for 35 years for Best Foods while my mom was getting educated and getting her, while cooking. And my dad never came home to a dirty house or without his arroz con frijoles.
I can't believe that. That always shocks me. My mom
But
was
that's what I saw. She didn't say, hey, by the way, you're going to play your role that was passed down to you. But over here, you have a choice with what you're going to do with your downtime.
Wow, that is powerful.
Right? You're going to watch TV, you're going to gossip, you're going to eat on the couch,
No, you're going
to do something with yourself.
Yeah,
so I always saw my mother in my peripheral doing something, right? So how could I not?
Wow.
How could I not? So that's my legacy. And my grandmother, forget about it, but we don't have time to go. That woman, raised 10 kids by herself, by the way, in Nicaragua. So, yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. But
we'll get to it. We're going to do it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So your mom becomes... Is she still with your dad at this time?
No, my parents married 25 years, and my mom decided after all of us kids married and left the house that she wanted her freedom.
Amen. My mom has a phrase. What did she say? She goes, libertad, porque te tardaste tanto para llegar. My mom goes, bendita libertad. Yeah, my mom is separated from my dad, I think 30 years.
Yeah. And everyone's like, what are you talking? You're almost done. Why are you quitting now? And she goes, I'm barely beginning. What are you talking about? And you know what I heard her say one time? She goes, I was living his life. Now it's time to live my life. And not that I didn't love him, and not that I'm pleased and honored to have these children, but ahora me toca a mí.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
we were like, Mom,
That's
and
right.
she went and bought her condo, a sports car, and lost 50 pounds and was out there doing her thing. And we're like, woo!
Let me ask you this. Did any of your siblings, because how many?
There's 5 of us, and I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest, right? So how did your siblings take it? Were they okay with it? Were they mad?
Well, the 2 girls, me and my sister, were like, right on, Mom. My brothers, they were mad.
Okay, that's what
They were like, you're crazy. What are you doing? You left Dad. You're embarrassing. And she goes, I notice that everything that you're saying about me is about somebody else.
Amen.
She goes, so you guys shush. Go live your life and leave me alone. But they were not happy.
Yeah. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten, I remember, in many of my arguments with my husband, he was like, aren't you afraid of disappointing the kids? And I was just like, and then I think it was, I don't know who I told the coach, and he said, no, the only person you should be afraid of disappointing is yourself.
Yes, right.
She's like, because if you disappoint yourself, then you disappoint everybody else.
Exactly.
And then I went back, I said, no. I said, F them kids.
Yeah.
And you too if you have to. And he was like, what? And I said, no. I said, because I have high standards for myself. Mm-hmm. I know what I want. Mm-hmm. And I deserve this. Mm-hmm. And if I disappoint this, then I'm for sure disappointing my children. Amen. And it was,
exactly right.
We Latinas and we can't just say Latinos, but like ethnic groups, we're so enticed of saying, ¿qué va a decir la gente?
Yeah.
La tía, el tío,
asking permission to live our own lives.
Always. And I remember like living that, I always tell my husband, I said, you're lucky that like I didn't come into myself until my 40s, because I remember like I tell my girl, you think I didn't want to go out and party and be with Tom, Dick, and Harry?
Right.
I did.
Yeah.
I said, but I was too busy thinking of what you and people were gonna say about me before I even did anything.
Right.
I said I acted upon what your reaction was going to be.
Right.
I said, you're lucky that we're married, and I decided now to not care.
Yeah.
I said, in this now that we have a commitment, right? I said, but if I would have come to this conclusion in my 30s, and which the women that have, I'm so proud of them, it would have been a different story.
Absolutely.
Because I allowed my actions to be dictated by others people's perception of me. So for your mom to be like, that's somebody, you're talking about somebody else, not me.
Yeah.
Woo,
she's a trailblazer.
Yeah,
and I didn't
amen.
even know, and when I was writing, and I love to creative write, hence my business, but I wrote a story titled Carry Your Cross, because I would go to my grandmother for advice on things, and she would always come back to, mija,
es tu cruz.
Es tu cruz, mija.
Wow.
And you have to carry it. And I would fight with her. I said, Abuela, no. I said, it was yours, and it was your mother's, and it was my mother's, but it doesn't have to be mine.
Amen.
Why are you, instead of passing the baton to freedom, why are you passing me the cross to carry? And she just looked at me. She goes, well, mija, if you're the one to change it, change it.
Good job.
Oh, yeah.
Let me do this.
Right?
Let me
but I wrote that story, and I found it the other day, and I was like, whoa. That's
deep.
It's called Carry Your Cross, because we do it to each other, which is so sad.
Well, yeah. Well, and like I always say, the criticism in our culture is deep. But the one thing my mom did for us, I used to tell Mom, so and so doesn't like me, or so and so doesn't think of it. Mom, don't worry about it. Worry the day I stop loving you. Yeah. And that ain't gonna happen.
That's beautiful.
And so I was like, and so I was lucky enough to kind of be raised where other people didn't matter what thought, but you know what mattered? Men.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because I was raised, be a virgin till you marry.
Oh yeah.
My worth was tied to my sexuality, my sexual partners, and my vagina, basically, right? It was tied to that. And when I decided to have my daughter, I said, absolutely not. And I was criticized, like, what do you mean you're not preaching, virgin to be until she's married? I was like, because that's not her worth. Yeah. It's like, it has no bearing on who she's going to be. Yeah. I want my daughter to be, happy and whole. And I know this is a little TMI, but like, I always tell women, I go, when you have to learn your body or learn about yourself through a man, and it happens to so many of us. It's sad, because when you finally get to a point where you're okay with this and yourself, you realize, oh wow, I missed out. Not only did I miss out on a lot, I missed out on me. Right. on what I like, what I want, or how I know,
and how do you even know, right?
You don't.
If everyone's dictating to you who, what, when, and why.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, does my voice count? Do I have anything
I didn't
to say?
even know I had a voice
I know,
until my
right?
40s. Like, I was like, wait.
Well, girl, you did. You figured that out early, because I didn't get to my.
Really?
We'll get to my voice didn't come out till I was in my 50s.
Okay. All right. I thought it was that. So I the one thing I did is make sure my daughter had a voice.
Yep.
And I probably did everything backwards, but I didn't shy away from it. And I said, and pleasure is not taboo. Like, didn't we hear that a lot?
Yeah.
But okay. Oh my God, we can go on forever.
I know.
I love it.
I know. Wait, are we doing a podcast or am I talking to you? No, like I said the other day, not only did I give my daughters their voice, I gave them a microphone.
Yay.
And I told them how to use it, because they are completely different from how I grew up, how my mom grew up. So as life would have it, I repeated a lot of my mother's life. I stayed Jehovah's Witness because I'm too afraid to leave. Yeah. I don't want to be kicked out and disassociated. The particular group that I hung out with, which was like, my whole family, education was not for women. I was supposed to stay home until someone decided to marry me, and I was supposed to, dedicate my life going door to door, and that was it.
That's right.
And I was like, oh no, this is not going to work.
Wow. Okay. So how old were you?
But I was 10 when I decided that, but I had to shut my mouth.
Wow.
So I stayed playing the part for my mother and for my father, because my mother converted.
Wow. Yeah.
She converted, right? So then I'm growing up in this, but still, just truth be told, there's racism in my family, right? There's judgment. There's, you can do it, but I can't. Men are
double
better.
Standards.
Yeah, double standards. Men rule, and I'm watching this going, but isn't that contradicts what you all are teaching in the Bible?
I like you.
And my dad's like, shush. I go, and then one day I heard that, the black community was different than us, and they were stepped down, and I was like, whoa. And I said, Dad, it really hurt my heart.
Yeah.
I'm 10 years old having this conversation.
Yeah.
I said, Pa, did you not tell me that there's one God, and are you all calling him Jehovah? Yes, mija. Okay, now, did God not, we are creation, right? You believe that God created us all? Yeah. Did he not create the black people too? Did they come from a different, no, mija, it's just that. And he gives me the caste system story.
Yeah.
I go, well, brown brother, where do you fit in all of this? I go, Dad, have you noticed? And he told me straight up that, white here, us in the middle, and them down here.
Yeah,
and I
especially
was
Puerto
like,
Rico.
Holy Toledo.
Puerto Rico is really, really known for their caste system and their colorism, right? All Latino America, but I think because Puerto Rico, the concentration of Afro Latinos, it's more prevalent. But it's
I know he's never listened to me. You know what? I'm just calling you out. That's okay.
And unfortunately, it's a belief system.
Yeah.
He believed that.
He was taught it.
Yeah, he was taught it. He believed it, right? Because I always say, colorism, I don't call it racism because he didn't own a system of oppression, but colorism is a belief system. Yes. It's a belief system of I am better, and I am, and I want to belong, and hence the reason we are, politically as a culture and as an ethnic group in the situation that we're in, because there's certain, sorry for the word, shit that we believe that is so deeply rooted in this caste system, and in what, sorry Spaniards, what that's their inheritance to us. That is what they left us with, right? Because that's where it comes from. So I hear you. And it's sad, but hey, you broke that. You had to break out of there.
I had to.
You did it.
And I had that conversation at 10. At 15, I had another one. I had to live in it with my parents. And then I fall. At 17, get pregnant with my first daughter.
Okay.
So I just blow a hole through everybody's life plans for me. I'm not married.
Okay.
I'm in high school.
Okay.
And I got to come home and tell these people that I'm pregnant.
I'm sorry. I'm
Right?
just nervous for you.
Yeah, right? And so,
I'm nervous for
no,
you.
mija, I was like, and you know what? Abortion was not even, I'm all I'm all pro-choice, but for me, I was not even an option. And I thought, okay, how is this going to work? And I had my prescription for vitamins in my bag, and my bag was on my bed. And before I can get the words out of my mouth, my mother finds that purse.
Right.
And
they
can
sniff it. I remember the first time I had sex, by the way.
She beat my ass with that purse, by the way.
The first time I had sex, I was like 20, I believe. I swore that I smelled like it. I came home like she's gonna fucking smell it on me. She's gonna know. Because we're so like.
Because she never went in my room.
But okay, now as a mom,
I know
the sixth sense that we developed, right? So you couldn't you know that she was in tune with you.
Yeah.
And here it goes. Here's the proof, right? You come home.
Yeah.
And she
so sadly, she reacted the way that she thought she was supposed to. So she threw me out.
Wow.
That day.
Wow. How far along are you at this point?
3 months.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And my dad backed it up. And I did not leave that door until she beat my ass.
Yeah.
In front of my siblings.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was awful. But
absolutely.
It changed my life, of course.
Of course.
And she wasn't having it. But I embarrassed her, the church, God, the neighbors. It was all about everybody else. And not, oh my God, my daughter, you're carrying my grandchild. I know that you're not prepared for this, but let me help you. No, it was get out. You're an embarrassment to the family. This woman that I've been, raised, right? So
the woman that you have put on a pedestal, the woman that you have admired, the woman that you have seen at your peripheral be a doer. Oh my God, that must have been so hard.
It was really hard, and so that's a whole nother story. I ended up homeless. I ended up, couch surfing. It was insane. And I married the dad right before I delivered, just to give my baby a name. And now, no high school diploma, no money, no family support, no church. Yeah. And I'm married to a Mexican guy who had his own
what
do we want to call him? Yeah.
His own perspective, to put it politely.
Perspective, right?
To put it politely, because we could get really mean.
Oh my God. Anyway, that's a whole I keep saying that's a whole nother story because there's so much here. But so anyway, I ended up, having 2 daughters with him. Okay. My eldest is 44, Jacqueline. My middle daughter is 41, Jennifer. And they were with my husband at the time.
How long did you stay married for?
So from 17 to about 24, but probably out emotionally the whole time.
Wow. So it was never this fantasy, we're going to live together.
No.
So, okay.
No.
And you had seen your mom probably suffer.
I did exactly what my mother did.
Yeah. And you probably knew subconsciously, like, oh, I know this road. And you fell into place because that's what you knew.
And I fell right into the role of cooking and cleaning and serving the man to the point of nauseam. And I was starting to get really depressed, and I couldn't put my finger on it. He ended up being a good man. He was a great provider. I had 2 beautiful daughters. His family took me in because mine was like, we're out. Yeah. But still, I wasn't living my truth and didn't know it. Yeah. I didn't have my voice. I didn't know it.
I think you're so young at 17, right? You're just not developed formally, like your brain and everything.
No. What do you know?
You're expected to be a mom, be a wife, be this, great companion, and take it all in and hear their problems. And we're not supposed to have that many problems because we're supposed to be, the bouncing board and the debriefer and all this. Wow. And at 17, I tell you, I had my daughter at 25, and I used to cry with her when she came home. I think 25 to have a child is super young. I look back, I was like,
oh, wow. No, I don't know how.
And she was planned. She was fucking planned.
That's hilarious.
She was planned.
Wild,
and then I bring this kid home, and I'm just like, wait a minute, wait, what did I do?
Yeah.
How did I think I was gonna, why did I even think I was gonna be a mom?
Right.
Who said I was gonna be a good mom? I was like, is there a refill policy here? Because you think you know it, right? Now, and in retrospect, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know nothing.
Right.
I knew nothing.
Right.
I knew, I knew nothing, and I think I finished growing up with her, at 25. So at 17 and 18.
When I think back, I'm going to be 64 this year, so I could barely.
You're great.
Oh, thank you. I barely remember 17, but I do remember those milestones, like when my mom found out I was pregnant.
Yeah.
When I gave birth. When I those
Got
things will.
married,
I all got married. At City Hall with the pants out to here. And and I was so sad because I didn't have my family, and I came from a big family.
Yeah,
and when you lose, a Hispanic family, you lose a village.
Yes, you do.
And they would stone me if they would see me out in the street. So it was not good. Yeah, because remember, my grandmother was a pioneer, so they're high up there in this organization that was the world to them.
Yeah.
And I decided when I was pregnant, I am not raising my children like this.
Yeah. Hey, good for you.
Yeah, I'm not. I go, this doesn't make sense to me. The contradictions were really scary, and they couldn't, prove anything to me. And I went behind the scenes and read all the books that they said we're not supposed to read. And back then there's no internet.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no cell phone.
Right.
So I'm with two girls in a stroller all over San Francisco trying to get to the bookstores to get the books I'm not supposed to be reading.
Right.
But little by little, I got myself out. So at 25, I ended up divorcing the dad and taking my two girls, and I had nothing.
Oh.
So, and he says, you want out?
I had that.
You want out? And I tell people, I left with 2 kids, $2, 2 suitcases, and guess where I went?
Right.
Back to my mother's.
I did the same thing. And I'm sorry, I'm a cursor. So my daughter's father tells me, same thing, you want out? You leave with anything. And I remember at a certain occasion, and I was like, hey, you need help. He goes, you want help? You gotta come home. I said, prefiero comer mierda bajo de un puente que regresar contigo.
Right.
Because I said, I ain't doing that.
Right.
I ain't doing that.
Right.
And he said, well, put some salt on it.
Yeah.
And eat it.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he didn't.
Nope.
But I will tell you that moment, I don't know if it happened to you, changed me.
Sure.
And I said, ooh, motherfucker, you are gonna, are gonna.
Yeah. Just wait. Just wait.
And
just wait.
This
Watch.
moment is gonna do a 180, and I'm gonna be on the other side.
That's right.
And I can tell you that moment in my life was a driver for so many years for me to do something. And sadly, more than even those strong women in my family, there was a time that was a catalyst for me to be a go-getter, a high earner, and just said, I ain't going back to that.
That's right.
I ain't gonna, and I will never put myself in a situation where I have to depend. And sadly for my daughter, I drilled into her, do it, get it done.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because the price that we pay is so huge that if we don't do something with that ticket that we got out, it was for nothing.
Yes.
And I tell the women, especially, our Latina sisters, if you don't do something with the gift that you've been given, then for what?
Yeah.
Para eso quédate. But if you're going to get out to suffer, to be broke, to be with a bunch of other idiots, for what? Do something with this exit and make something out of yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so you leave $2, 2 kids.
So I decide, make my mama proud, and I went and got my GED. I cried when that piece of paper came, right? And then I decided to go to Hill Business College, and I graduated with honors, and I did 2-year stint. Now, mind you, I did not know how to read or write when I got to Hill. And I did not know that I did not know how to read or write properly.
All right. Tell me about that.
Well, I had some white women telling me, how did I get into that school? because my writing skills were horrible.
Okay.
But I was very creative and I wanted to put out my heart, but I couldn't write a complete sentence.
Okay.
Properly,
Okay.
right?
So you
I
you
said,
learned to
well,
write.
it's okay. I could change that.
That's right.
I could change that.
Good for you. So I'm dyslexic. I am severely dyslexic. I actually did not know how to read till I get to ninth grade in high school. And back then, being dyslexic in a white town, because I grew up in a white town,
right.
They literally put me in a special ed classroom with severely delayed children and severely
with special needs. Yeah.
Yes, and I was the only one that had vocal abilities in the class.
Yeah.
And they told my parents she'll never learn how to read. And so they put me in there, right? And then my mom, in her broken English, said, "The damn she won't."
That's right.
Let me tell you, my mom.
Right.
And I remember the day my mom put me into mainstream classes, I wanted to choke her because I was like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
But I learned how to read fully in the ninth grade.
Right.
And I was a troublemaker because I don't want anybody to know that I didn't know how to read, right? So I get to high school and I'm the skinny little badass. I was like, you gonna come to this?
Right.
No, you ain't, because but I had to develop this persona because nobody had the courage to call me out, right? And I had to make sure of that. And I had one teacher that said, I know this act.
Yeah.
I've seen it 1,000 times. Yeah. And I was like, oh, hell no. I still remember her name. Gay Man, Miss. Yeah, her first name was Gay, her last name was Man, Mrs. Man. And of course, being scared, because it wasn't bravery, I used to call her all kinds of names because she would call me out. But I, 50 years later, or it's how many years later, almost at 50 years old, I have to thank her because she's the one that made me get help. She's the one that made my mother say. But my mom paid for a personal tutor.
Amen. Good for her.
$20 an hour.
Ooh, that's a lot of money back then.
Yes. Twice a week. And my mom said, you're going to learn how to read. If the last thing I do is you're going to fucking learn how to read.
Good for her.
I was like, I was so scared.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, I know the feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like,
you go to college, you have a bunch of these white women saying, girl, you don't know how to write.
Yeah, and everyone doing circles around me. I had to study twice as hard.
That's right.
I had to work twice as hard. Now, mind you, I have 2 kids while I'm doing this, and I'm at home, and I ended up having to go to Safeway to get a job. So I'm a night clerk, going to school during the day, doing my homework in between, and taking care of 2 kids.
Wow.
How I did it, I'll never know. But I did, right? So I graduated from honors from there, and I take off, and working, was super hard because now who's going to take care of the kids? I got to do the whole dance with my mother-in-law, y esto y el otro, right? So anyway, that was the end of my education. Now remember, the group that I grew up with, women don't get educations.
Right.
So I thought I was a badass with my GED, my little heel thing that, by the way, nobody even knows what that is today. And they don't even give you any credit for it. But back then it was a big deal, right? And so anyway, I got to get to the point to how did I get to here?
Yeah,
right. that matters. Otherwise, they're going to be like, get to the point. So I end up working a lot of jobs between that Heald College graduation and by the time I was 35, 40. I started working at 14 selling ice cream, and I've never stopped. I just celebrated 50 years of working. And
wow.
And that we actually celebrated that.
And you should.
Yeah, right?
They should.
And I just never stopped. But I learned a lot because I was always in sales and marketing of some sort, and I was always gregarious and a storyteller, but I had to be in order to sell my product and to keep my job because I'm competing with all the blonde, blue-eyed girls.
Right.
And
you got to be twice as good.
Yeah, twice as good, exactly.
That's right.
At 17, I ended up getting promoted to become a manager for Jeans West. Do you remember that store? Remember Jeans West, the Limited, all those stores?
Yes.
So I ended up being the youngest manager that they've ever had, and because I had a black boss who said, "You are it. We're opening up a new store. We're going to promote you." I'm like, "Ooh, I thought it was something," and I was, I made sure that my store was number 1.
That's right.
Right.
That's
so I had that in me. And I was so proud that he was proud, and I was so proud that the company was proud. And I noticed that I was really looking for the accolades of my bosses and or the men that I worked for.
Oh, yeah.
Because I worked for a lot of men because I was a cute kid, and so they would.
You're still beautiful.
Oh, thank you. But something that's hard to hear. But thank you.
Really?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah. So
we are going to get to that.
It's a trip. So my and I said, gosh, I gotta do something with this talent other than constantly looking for the approval of men.
But you're able to recognize and diagnose that yourself?
I
Wow.
noticed that I knew I had it in me, but I didn't know how to be the driver in my own life. Now, mind you, I'm still in my 20s. I got the girls. I'm single now. I'm doing all this stuff. And the hardest job on the planet is being a single mother.
Yes.
I don't care if you got 1 or you got 10.
10. Yep.
You are never going to work harder, sleep less, worry more.
Yep.
Count your pennies and try to feed them, right?
Yeah, motherhood as a whole, right? Is a hood that is the hardest hood, right? Because it's first of all, I don't believe any child has the same mother.
True that. Yeah.
So like my daughter didn't have the same mother as my son.
Right.
And I do think we get better at it with each one, but and it's tough, right? Like I always say, Giselle and I are trauma bonded. I apologize to her because I had her. I was a single mom. I went through a divorce with her. Her and I were tied to a hip, and I didn't have that emotional support. Then I have my son with my husband, and it was a different experience, right? I had an involved person, forget a man, involved person
partner
in my child's life, and it was shared responsibilities and just the emotional support, right? Like, did I do that right? And he'll be like, no, you did it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Somebody calling me out. And with my daughter, for the longest time, I didn't have anybody to call me out on my nonsense. And there was a lot of nonsense, and I was young and stupid. But it was still hard. It's still hard. And it's still hard with the partner. But motherhood, it's up. And I always tell, we do the brunt of it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And I have a very evolved husband, and I still do the brunt of it. And the emotional part of it and the support of it. So motherhood is the hardest
thing I've ever done. Yeah. And the thing that I'm the most proud of, but definitely the hardest, right? So between that and 50, there's a whole lot of life. But I'm going to fast forward. I
love it, though. I love it.
There's so much life, and if you're ever interested, you let me know.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. No, we're going to have to go get
let me just drop this bomb on you.
Okay.
I've been married 6 times.
Woo! Give me five.
And if you heard,
I've been only 2. But.
If you heard how and why, your mouth would drop.
Really?
Okay.
Is there a book on that I can buy somewhere?
Yeah. Well, I'm working on that book. I told my daughters I'm going to publish it after I'm dead. Because it's called The Memoir of Your Mama.
Oh,
and I'm going deep and down. They have to know.
Absolutely.
Because you know what? There's a lot of people out there talking shit that don't even know what the hell is the truth.
And not just that. And I think we gotta own it.
That's right.
There's no shame in it.
I'm not. Hey, I just
I'm not
it
saying
out.
that there is, but I'm just saying, like, for other people, right,
it's
that
okay.
don't want to own it, that don't want to be like, yeah, that was me, yeah, I did, and like my mom has a phrase that says, "Uno no sabe para quién trabaja," meaning you don't know who you work for, meaning that partner made you better for that partner,
that's right,
and this partner made you better for that, and
that's
it's like,
right.
and we become these people and these women that these men love because of what we've been through, right? And
right.
It's like, but we don't even know that.
No. I'm just putting one foot in front of the other, trying to figure this shit out. No, yeah. And my Tío Tony at 102 or 103 passed away recently. Oh. We're going to celebrate his life tomorrow. We're all having a Zoom party. And one of the things he said to me, because we were very close before he died, he goes, "Mija, come over here." He goes, "I have to say something to you. I'm telling everybody before I die what their gifts are, and I'm going to tell you what yours is." And I go, okay. And I'm overthinking, I'm a great mom, I'm a hard worker, I'm a good person. He goes, "You know how to get yourself into shit." He goes, "But you know why I'm so proud of you? Because when it's wrong, you know how to get yourself out.
That's right.
You don't stay in it very long."
That's right. Good for you.
And I was like, he goes, that's your gift. So if you pass anything on to your daughters, you tell them, you go live your life, but you better learn, listen to your gut, discernment, that when you're in something wrong, whether it's a person, a place, an environment, an experience, use your voice and get the fuck out.
That's right.
Hence my 6 divorces.
Yay! Hey, listen, you were able to leave.
No, some of them, the ink didn't even dry before I divorced them. You know, it's like, whoop, I'm out. No,
Good for you.
sorry. Yeah, so, you know, but the 6 together don't even equal like 5 years. I'm telling you, that story is wild, right?
Yeah, that is fun. That is fun.
So, that's a
but I
big
mean, you can look back at it and say,
it made me who I am today.
That's right. That's right. And I am such a firm believer in that, right?
Yeah,
So, and I always think about my mama's phrase, like, you don't know who you're working for, right?
Yeah.
The beneficiary of all that struggle and the heartache, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't easy, is probably reaping them right now, right? Like, oh my God, the man you're married to now is loving.
Yeah, the most loving and unconditional, non-judgmental man you will ever meet on the planet. But God sent him. I married him twice. So out of the 6, he's 2.
I love it.
I married him once 20 years ago, and I'm like, eh. And then we stayed friends. I married 2 after him, and then he was even friends with my. Anyway, he goes, by the time you're 60, if you're done with all this, he goes, you're mine. And we got married after I was 60.
Nice. I love it.
But and now it's I have the best life, the best partner. I'm so blessed. But girl, it was creepy crawling out of a whole lot of stuff.
You're there. You have arrived. That's what matters.
Oh, okay. Right. So fast forward through the 6 marriages, and then I never stopped working. And I mean, scrubbing toilets to working back of restaurants to delivering to doing whatever I had to do to feed my kids.
That's right.
Whatever. No shame in the game.
There isn't.
Right?
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, watching everybody else living a different life. Like, what do they know that I don't know?
That's a great question.
How do I get there? Like, why does she get that house, that car, that bank account, that life? Why am I over here pretending I got something? It took me 3 jobs to get this thing at Goodwill.
I love when you say pretending.
But pretending.
Yeah.
Because
we've all been there.
Yeah.
And I dare the woman to tell me that it's never been there, or a person, because we've all been there, young, older.
Because you think that matters.
Yes.
You think that matters. That if I come with my faux this and my faux that, you're going to think I'm something or somebody. That don't mean nothing.
It does not.
But you have to learn that.
You do.
Yes or no?
And I think for us, children of immigrants, there's this hunger to prove ourselves. This hunger. I really admire, because I have a couple friends that I know are close people that it never mattered to them, and it still doesn't matter to them. And I can tell you there was a point in my life where it mattered. It married a whole lot. And I pretended, and it was like, oh, here I have, and there's a big difference of wanting something because you want it, not because what you think people are going to think of you.
Because it brings you joy.
Exactly. And when I finally arrived, I was like, nobody fucking cares, Nancy.
Right. Yeah. And don't you like when you go out and nobody looks at the stuff you're trying to brag about? Well, damn, nobody even says shit, right?
Nobody, here I am like, this is what I'm wearing.
And you're like, hello, you see my bag, and nobody even looks at you.
They're like, that's fake. But anyway, it doesn't matter, right? But it takes it. But I think we children of immigrants, success is money. Success is name brands. Success is the house, the cars, and I lived through all that. I wanted that, and I married a man that he can carry a rat's ass. We joke with him because he wears the same T-shirt for the last 10 years.
My husband,
and we have baby shower pictures too. Last year's Christmas with the same damn T-shirt. And we're like, and my kids and I are like, dude, we got to get Dad a new shirt. It's the same.
I just had the same conversation with my husband. Please, this year change that shirt.
Right, and then I remember my husband one time told me, goes, Do not ever ask me to buy you a purse that I can buy a plane ticket out of the country
Yeah.
with. And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
We don't have it like that, Nancy.
Yeah.
He said, so
Yeah.
I will never buy you a purse that I can buy a plane ticket with. But luckily for me,
Yeah.
he don't know anything about name brands.
Yeah.
He'll be like, that's an ugly purse. I was like, little did he know.
Yeah, right,
You know,
right,
how
right.
much it cost me. He's like, and then sometimes I'll be like, that's a, $500 purse. He'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Take it back, Nancy.
Yeah.
So, but he has taught me a different definition of success.
Yes.
My husband, success to him is being able to eat dinner at the table with the kids and
Yes.
have the conversation, to have the time
Yes.
off,
Yes.
to have the time to spend quality time like that. I never would equate it with success because that's not what I was taught. I was taught to hustle. I was taught to provide, to bring in, to make bigger, right? And I remember my husband's like, I remember a particular time where I was like, hey, they offered you overtime. He's like, and I ain't taking it. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, I ain't taking it. I was like, we need the money. He's like, no, we don't. I was like, yeah, we do. And he's like, no, we don't. He said, you got food? I said, yeah. He's like, you got roof? Yeah. Gas in the car? Yeah. I was like, but a little bit more help because no, Nancy, my kids need me.
Yes.
Never, and not to, sorry, Daddy, never did I hear my dad say,
Right.
oh, my kids need me, so
Right.
therefore I'm not going to go.
Right.
I'm not going to do, right?
Yeah.
And so to me, I was just like, I was mad. I was
But
like,
look at you, the love language that your dad had, and you married a man with a different love language.
oh, girl, that's 100 G's worth of therapy that my dad owes me. I'm still waiting for the check, so you know. Okay, he owed me some serious.
Yeah, that's funny. That's
I always tell him,
funny.
I was like, oh hell no, you owe me. No, I had to seek out therapy because as I fell into certain patterns as my mother, and my first marriage was my father. And I've talked about it before, and people that know me. My dad is a great dad, but a horrible husband.
Yeah.
He always has been, always will be. I think he's 82 right now, but he impacted our lives so deeply in the sense with the man we picked and all of my sisters and I. There's 3 of us, right? The impact of his infidelities. I'm almost 50 years old and I'm still unraveling it.
Yeah.
My daughter will probably unravel some of that crap,
Right.
just because of what I brought into
Sure.
this life, right? But I was able. The only reason I was able to pick the husband I have now is because I had to work on me.
Because you healed.
I don't know about heal.
Well, healing.
Yes,
you're
thank
on
you.
the H of the healing.
Yes.
We're still working to the G.
And it's a work in progress.
It is a work in progress.
Yeah.
And like I tell my daughters, you know that you're maturing and evolving when you know that sometimes you're the teacher and sometimes you're the student.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you best know when to shut up.
Yep.
And you best know when to pass a gift.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
otherwise, si sabes todo, you're going to learn nothing. You stay stuck.
Right. No, and I always tell people healing is such a strong word, and I think we cope, we learn, and it's a process, and that's the only way we get better is the continuous healing of whatever we've been through. But oh my God, okay. So let's get back on track because you and I can go off on tangents. I love it. This is so much fun.
Okay, so fast forward to 40. My girls are now a little grown. I'm still single, and I meet a man that dropped me to my knees, and I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble now. And he was younger than me. He didn't live in this country. The blonde blue eyes got me, but he spoke Spanish. He was super smart, and he got me on the dance floor.
Ooh.
We were at a salsa supper club that I took my mother to because she kept insisting that I take her on a weeknight. And I would go, Ma, I work full time with 2 kids, and you want me to take you where?
That's right.
I go, okay, let's go. So I took her. I'm sitting there like this, and all of a sudden someone grabs my hand. He didn't even ask me. He just took my hand. And we danced from 9 o'clock to midnight, nonstop. We never said a word.
Wow.
The music ended. He sat me down and he walks away. I sat down and my mother goes, whoa, I just saw my daughter fall in love.
How exciting.
And I'm like, you're crazy. I don't even know his name. We take off. We're in the car. I'm backing up going, he didn't even ask my name, nothing. I'm backing up and tick, tick, tick. He knocks on my window.
Oh, girl, you were ready to drop your name and your phone number.
Girl, I couldn't roll that window fast enough. I'm playing it cool, right? And he just hands me his info.
He said, call me.
So that's a rated R story, but we'll save it for another time. So I think a year later from that, he lived in Europe, and he was only here on a work visa, and he had to go back. He also took care of his parents. He was a very kind son, and he was leaving, and I was heartbroken. But I knew he had to leave, and he wasn't from this country, y esto lo otro, right? So before he left, I said, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to say something to you, and let me get to the end before you say anything. He goes, yeah, go ahead. Before you leave, and now I'm 40, mind you, 39, almost 40. Before you leave, I need you to get me pregnant.
Wow.
Because you and I are meant to have a child. I don't even know where this is coming from, but the anthropological pull between the two of us is so strong that I'm boldly sitting here telling you that we are going to have a child. He didn't flinch.
He said, let's get to it.
And I said to him, I know you're freaked out by this, but listen, she'll have my name. I will raise her. We don't need any legal documents. You don't need to pay me any money. You don't need to do anything. You want to be involved, be involved. You don't want to be involved, don't be, whatever. But that child is coming.
Okay, let me get this straight. You have 2 kids already. You're a single mom, and you said, I want a third? Oh, he must have been
Something.
good.
But you know what it was, too? My ex was so controlling. And this pulling while we it was ugly.
Okay.
And I was like, I need to raise a child that's mine. Let me see what I'm made out of. And, so here it is.
Wow.
So
your 3rd child was born?
We got pregnant. Right after that conversation, we got pregnant.
What? Girl, you must have been ovulating. Your ovaries must have been knock. Please, could you go ask for some sperm
And
over
as
there?
soon as we were done, he says, I just got you pregnant. And soon after, he left.
Girl, you need to write a screenplay.
It's wild. It's wild.
Absolutely.
I know, right? So no, check this out. So my sister is going through a divorce. She's in LA. Come be with me and hold my hand. Now she's a single mom, and I'm sitting here blown about what I just said and did with this guy, and I didn't say nothing, right? So I'm sitting there in her living room. She goes, "What's this look about? What's up with you?" You know, sisters know.
Yeah, that's right.
I go, "Nothing. Shut up." And she goes, "No. What did you do?"
Girl, I'm nervous for you.
I said, well, and I told the story. She goes, are you out of your mind? You just about out of being a mom. And nope, I said, I'm not done. I swear to you, I'm not done. And she goes, you're insane. So we're going to go to this psychic, she says, this Russian psychic.
Tarot cards, coffee, what was it?
Coffee.
I knew it.
The coffee beans.
Yes,
Right? I'm like, you're crazy. I go, only in LA are we going to be doing this shit.
That's right.
So we drive in the, I don't know, I'm exaggerating when I say the middle of the night, but it was dark and we're driving. I think I paid the lady $75. We climb up these little stairs. She gives me the coffee. She tells me to drink it. She dumps it. Now she's reading and I go, what is she going to tell me that I don't? This is crazy. And my sister's taking notes. She's like, shut up. Just listen. So she says in her broken accent, she says, I'm going to tell you your past so you know that I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I go, okay, go ahead. And she was dead on. And I go, my sister told her. I go, you two are in cahoots, right? Yeah. I go, that's cool, but it's not that cool, right? She goes, and now I'm going to tell you your present. And I said, okay. And she touched on it, and she was like, okay, we're good. This is good. She goes, now I can tell you your future. Are you up for that? And I'm like, she goes, it's only going to be 2 sentences. Wow. And I'm like, yeah. She goes, you're pregnant. Ow! I'm like, we just did the deed. How on earth? She goes, you're pregnant. This child's going to change your life. She's the gift you've always needed.
Aww.
She's going to complete your story.
Aww.
You'll never marry the dad. And this is when your life begins.
Oh, wow.
Bawling, we leave. My sister races to Pink Dot, the stores, gets 2 pregnancy tests and a gallon of milk and a bottle of wine.
Wine is not for you.
Yeah, we go, no, it's for her, because she's like, you be crazy. I cannot believe you just did this. And the man left for Europe? Are you in? I go, no, I'm telling you, this child's coming. I don't even know where I'm getting all this, but here we are. Now, that's the power of your intuition and listening to it. So then,
Girl,
I'm
still waiting for that
Right.
powerful intuition. That's some powerful stuff.
But that's what we're supposed to learn, and that's what we're supposed to teach
Wow,
to
okay.
our daughters, to our friends, to our sisters, to every Latina that
Okay.
walks in your life.
Okay.
Because, girl, that's what guides us. Listen,
Wow,
that's what guides
wow,
you. If you don't listen
wow.
to that, we ignore it. See,
I've
no.
learned to listen to it. I've learned to listen to it, my gut, and I call it my gut, and I know. And my husband be like, "How do you know?" Because I know.
Yeah.
I know. I see it. I will tell you that sometimes myself, I can be afraid of it. And
Sure.
I'll be like, ooh, and I will
Back up.
pump the brakes
Yeah.
or slow it down because
Yeah.
I'm afraid of it. But this is powerful to me because I'm like, oh wow, okay. To know that,
Yes.
to have to listen to,
That's your
and my
gift.
admiration to you that you're able to be like, no, this is what I want, and
Yeah.
this is what I need, and
Yeah.
and it is happening. Like, wow,
Yeah, with
that
listen,
is-
no,
that
no
is
plan,
deep.
no plan,
Wow.
no money, no house.
That's the best.
Yeah,
To me, that's the best.
Yeah, I had nothing. I just knew God was going to provide. I was going to figure this shit out. I did have a really good job for the first time in my life. You know,
Okay.
6 figures back then was a lot.
Right,
You know,
right.
and I'm like, okay, I could do this, right?
Right.
And so my sister's like, you gonna pee on the stick or what? I go, hold on, I'm watching TV. Wait for the commercial, because I didn't believe that I was, right? So I go pee on the stick, and I hear my sister screaming, "Oh my God, pee on the second stick!" I go, those things don't work. You bought them at 7-Eleven. Are you crazy? This doesn't work. She goes, no, you're pregnant. She was right. And now she's starting to freak me out. And I go, okay, well, tomorrow I'll go to Planned Parenthood or somewhere and get a real test, right? So I go to Planned Parenthood. What do they come out with?
You're pregnant.
No, the same pregnancy stick I bought at 7-Eleven. And she gives me the stick. I go, what? She goes, they're accurate.
Yeah, they are.
She goes, did you already do it? I go, yeah, I did 2 of them. She goes, then you're pregnant. So she goes, but you're here anyway. I'll give you a certificate that you are, right? Certificate. So anyway, I go, and she goes, you're pregnant. I come out. My sister's at work. I call her. She goes, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. And I was crying. I was so happy.
Wow.
I was so happy. And I'm like, we did it one time before he left. This was supposed to happen. And I knew it was the end of that sentence. I knew it. Here's the freaky part.
What?
He takes off. He finds out. He calls my dad. Where's Indy? Oh, she's with Raquel in L.A. Call Raquel. He calls me there. Sorry.
Pull it towards you a little. Just
He
a little.
called, and then the phone, his name is Alejandro. It's looking for Indy. And I go, he goes, listen, I don't know what's going on, why you end up in LA, but I got something to tell you. I had a dream last night that you were pregnant. So I need you to go take a test because I'm flipping out over here. And I go,
You're too late. I already did it.
And I started with the Russian lady. He goes, what did she say? She told me straight up that I'm pregnant. He goes, then you're pregnant.
Wow.
He goes, are you going to come to Europe now? And I said, no, that's not the plan. So that's how I ended up with my 3rd daughter. And we have to pause there, right? So now I got a little girl that I'm raising, working my butt off with baby daddy in Europe. The other 2 are they're in high school. I think one was 15 and one was 18 when this
Wow.
one was born. And now I'm a single mom on purpose. Hello, right? But
yeah, but it's different. I
very
think.
empowering.
Yeah, very empowering.
Right?
And like I said, our children don't have the same parent.
No.
They just
No.
don't, right? Because
17, 40?
right, yeah, different.
I was 3 different
Yeah.
different mamas.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's magnificent. All my daughters are. And now, meanwhile, what I haven't been sharing with you is that in all of this, my mother's trying to pull me back to become a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh.
My brothers are pulling on me because I'm their second mama.
Right.
So help, with money, with advice, with baby. Look, there was always some crisis. There was always some fire, some fight, some issue, some problem. And I was constantly in the middle of my life, my family's drama.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and as the oldest sister, I felt obligated. And I would lend the money. I would give the car. I would take the kid. I would bail them out of jail. I would, whatever they needed. And Nancy, can I tell you, I was exhausted.
Absolutely.
That wore me out than being a single mama.
Well, yeah, and because there's such an expectation, right? There's such an expectation when one Latino makes it, we pull everybody up, as a female, as I'm the youngest, and sometimes I feel like that. But I mostly feel like that with my parents, right? I would say that, not so much my brothers and sisters, but I do recognize that also our need to please, our need to say yes, our needs to not disappoint, right? Because I can tell you, like, I am the yes girl. I was more of a yes girl, but I am like, okay, yeah, let's do this, right? I need this. Okay, I got it. I'll figure it out.
That was my answer.
I'll figure it out. Like,
I don't know, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So I was a girl that figured it out. To the point where what's the word? I disabled them to be able to figure out their own things because they knew, call Indy, she'll figure it out.
Yeah, call Indy, yeah. And then and that's cultural. We were born with those expectations, and we feel that we have to deliver versus learning the powerful word no. It's powerful. Sorry. But I remember one of my proudest moments is when my daughter told me no. I was pissed. I was like, this little. And I told my husband, can you fucking believe she said no? My husband's like, yeah, you taught her to say no. And I was like, and it was such a bittersweet moment because I'm so used to the yes. Yeah. And I'm so used to figure it out. And there's certain pride that came with that.
Sure.
A certain culture also. Well, we got each other's back. And it wasn't anything that she didn't have my back. It was more of, no, Mom, you're not entitled to that information. And no, I don't want to do that. Right. Versus, like, I didn't do that till like my 40s, right? With my own mom. And so it was a bittersweet moment, but I was like, hey, this is exactly what I wanted to break. And
you put wings on her back. She's using them, and you're like, no, not so fast.
Yes,
wait. I know the feeling.
But she does, right? And my son, he got no problem, no. But he a boy, so I'm like, okay, whatever. And unfortunately for myself, I also fell into that role of the misogynistic, with my son. It was just so much different. I didn't feel the need to build them strong, to be self-sufficient, because it was such a double standard, and I felt, and I should have, and I should, right? But like, he's a boy. The world is just easier for him, and I should still make it as hard. But I've been a hard ass on my daughter. I've been on her, and I've been everything. And sometimes she'll complain, but I said, "Look at you.
That's right.
Look where you be."
Yeah,
I said, "That's right. That's not
she is absolutely stunning.
Oh,
but not
you.
Just a beautiful specimen of a woman. Her presence when she walked out of here, I'm like, damn.
Oh, thank you.
No, seriously, because usually girls that age, the shoulders down, they don't even know. She came right up to me and hello and welcome. I'm like, okay, that's because of you and your husband.
Yeah, and it as a woman, you're like, no, you gotta show up, and entrepreneurship, and this is what it means. But like as a mother, you sometimes sit back and be like, damn, did I do this right?
That's
or did can I have done it better? I'm pretty sure I know I could have done it better. Right. What else can I change?
Right.
Okay, so let's get to this.
Okay, so now I'm 40 with 3 kids, and the only thing I want is to provide for my children and never leave the house.
Okay.
Because I had a thing that I wanted to be home when they got home from school, because that's the most important time of the day for a daughter.
Yes.
She needs to unload. She needs to feel safe with her mother. She needs to cry, whatever she needs to do. Right. And I knew, especially with Celine, because she was super. My youngest daughter is Nindy Rivera. You see her there?
Yes.
She's super, super hyper intelligent and super sensitive. And I knew for this one, I have to be home. So how do I make money and take care of this child, right? And I mean real money, because
I love it.
I don't need to just pay the lights and eat. We need real money, right? Yes. And so in order for me to be able to even have that conversation with self, I had to cut a lot of strings.
Yeah.
So I was married again at that time, and that had to be a no. That bye, see ya. That ended in 24 hours. and that was exactly what needed to happen. And then the hardest thing I ever had to do, is I walked away from my family.
Yeah. Wow. So, wow. Okay, so you're this yes girl. You are the helper. I am money, raising kids, and you say no more.
On my 50th birthday,
You say no.
I knew that if I didn't say no to them and yes to me, that I will never make the impact that I needed to make in my daughter's lives, and I would never realize who I am as a person, as a woman, if I kept pouring into my family.
Oh, God, girl, you're going to make me cry.
Girl.
Ooh.
And I walked away at 50. I'm going to be 64, and I never saw them again.
Oh.
And since then, I have buried my mother and my brother, and my siblings and I are severed for life. But a lot of it was so toxic. Okay, and I mean real toxicity, abuse, drugs, alcohol, just beat down from my own family. And I was like, I can't do this. I have nothing else to give you. So I walked away and I left, and I think I was down for like a minute because I knew, I tell you what.
A minute.
I said, Indiana, you have no idea how much time you have left on this earth. And remember I told you earlier that when you get your gift of freedom, you better do something with it.
That's right.
Right? So I knew I'm going to lose my mother, all my siblings, my aunts, my uncles, all my cousins, everybody I knew. And I'm going to do nothing with that?
Wow.
Oh, hell no.
That is deep. And thank you, Giselle. Here, sorry for breakfast.
Oh, thank you. And so,
wow, that is deep. And all my Latinas sisters and any migrant child knows those roots and knows it.
Yep.
And let me say this goes twofold in the sense that sometimes that's what's needed.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because...
But I don't want to be an advocate. I'm not pushing it. I want to make that clear.
And that's what I'm trying to get to.
It has to be life or death, and it has to be, you know what I mean? Like...
But even... Like, we are so raised, es tu sangre, that's your blood, that's like, we gotta show up, and we gotta be there, and we gotta put up, and, and I get it, because that registers with me, but what you say also registers with me, right? So it's like this double-sided coin, or this paradox of, like, those are two truths, right? And two things can be true at the same time, where yes, my family needs me and it's my blood and it's this, and then the side of where this is drowning me, this is killing me, and it's gonna take my life, and this is Georgia. I get that more than you can imagine. And then it's just for anybody that is in that type of circumstances, this resonates, right? And there's us that are fortunate that can weigh that balance, right? That I can, like, I am lucky to be, if I tell my mom, it's like, hey, listen, I'm fucking drowning over here, she's gonna be like, okay. Or if I tell my brother, hey, I'm drowning, he's gonna be like, okay, Nancy, take care of yourself, and we'll come back to. And there's some people that don't have that.
No, I wasn't getting that.
I'm your blood, I'm your hermano, I'm your family. You gotta do right. And then when do you not do for you?
Right.
When do you stop? So let me tell you, there's people that will live their whole lives giving and trying, and not have that perspective to say, hey, I'm gonna not do what I need to do if I continue. That's huge. That is huge, Indiana. And let me tell you, I know it's painful, and I can't imagine it, but you need to be proud, and you need to be grateful that you're able to get to that place to flourish.
Well, retrospectively, I now know it was the best decision, but I did not know it as I was crawling out of it.
Of course not.
Because the shame and the guilt and the tears. And you know how many U-turns I tried to go back? Because I'm like, who am I to think that I could fly off this cliff? Who am I to think that I'm the crab that's going to crawl out of this bucket? Who am I to think that I'm going to do something with my life? Who?
Indiana,
I had people in my life, my best friends, who said, you know who you are? The woman that's going to make it happen.
That's right. That's
and
right.
you don't go back to anybody.
That's right.
Unless there's evidence of change.
Yeah, and it has to be a nurturing relationship, even, you know, in the toxicity. Sometimes there always has to be more good than bad. When a relationship,
Right.
whether it be a brother relationship or be a spouse or friend, if the relationship is more toxic than good,
Right.
then we're done. We should be done.
Well,
we should be done.
well,
we should be able to have the ability to say, hey, listen, this is no longer working for us, and we need to break away or part ways.
You only have so much energy.
Yes.
You only have so many hours. You only have so many, daylight. One friend told me, there's only so many sunsets and summers left. How many of those are you going to waste?
Oh, wow.
Right? So
you cut your family off.
Yeah.
And then you started publishing us?
Nope. I decided to go to college.
Oh.
Because my daughter, the youngest, started college, and I said, I'm going to go to school with you, and I'm going to graduate with you, and you and I are going to do a mother-daughter dance across that stage.
Oh my God!
And I was the director of sales and marketing for another company that gave me the privilege of working from home, because I made it very clear to my boss man, I'm going to be there at 3:00 when my daughter walks through that door. You want me? I'm working from home. I'm not driving from Aptos all the way to Redwood City because you need to see my face. Do a Zoom. I'm going to be home. But I worked hard for my job as sales and marketing, and he needed me and loved me and respected me. But man, I had to fight hard for that.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So I'm doing that, raising my daughter, doing life, right, and I still have my other daughters and everything else going on there. And here I throw in, full-time college, and I'm talking crazy schedule. And then I decide I'm going to be an honor student, and I'm not going to come home with anything less than an A. So I'm doing homework at 2, 3 in the morning. My daughter gets up and goes, you need to go to bed. This is insane. I go, look, young mind, you remembering shit? I don't. I got to go over this shit 3, 4 times.
Write it down, put it on the wall.
I'm over there recording it, and playing it back to myself in my sleep. To
remember, to retain it. So, they don't work the same.
Yeah, so you got to do the work. I couldn't get to this level unless I had some education. There's some things I needed to learn, right?
Yeah.
And so I did the work, and I put myself through school, and I graduated with my daughter, and COVID took our stage away, so we had no public graduation.
But you graduated. Did you do the mother-daughter dance in the living room?
Yes. So we had a ceremony in the living room. We got the cap and gown, and my husband played the music, and Selena and I walked across, and I got my Latina banner, and because we were, very few Latinas graduated from college. My daughter, the youngest one, is working on her master's. She's going to be done in May of next year, and she said, Ma, when I graduate, I will be one of 8% of Latina women with a master's degree.
Yes. It's so funny because our medical director, I don't know if you got to see the podcast with our medical director, she was explaining to us that only 2% of medical professionals speak Spanish, and only like 1% is Latina women. So
we got to change that.
We got to change that. We got to change that.
There's a lot of people out there that I know that the women out there that got them in. They got it in them. They just need that push.
And let me tell you, I suffer sometimes from imposter syndrome because I don't have a formal education besides my certificate in aesthetics, but I know my shit. I know my formulation. I know skin, and I've been in the game for 10 years. But that certificate or that formal education means a lot, and sometimes I get the imposter syndrome, and I have to reprove myself and enunciate and speak well, and I know I'm worthy of it because I've been in the game for 10 years, and I built what I built on my knowledge, right? But so I get it, and it resonates. I can be here forever, but unfortunately we can't. I want to get.
So that's when all of this started. So that job ended, and I was working with a woman named Nancy. When the job ended, someone called me and said, "Will you do a logo for me?" And I said, sure. I just said yes. By the way, I say yes to everything.
Yeah, you're like me. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out later, right?
Before YouTube, I used to say. Before university YouTube, I still would say yes.
But I was saying it to my family. Now I'll figure it out for me now,
that's right?
So that's how we started with that phone call. So I called Nancy in Mexico. My partner is there. And I said, mija. By the way, she was 25 at the time. She's 41 now. And she was also working on her master's degree. She's a badass, this one. And she said, I said, mija, I go, we're going to start a business. She goes, are you crazy? How? What do you mean? She goes, who's going to pay us, me dice? I go, we going to pay us. She goes, pero como? I go, we're going to start a business. And I just started making shit up. I go, we're going to call it Nindy. We're going to put your N from Nancy in front of my Indy. We're going to call it Nindy. And she goes, can we do studio design? I go, yeah, sure, perfect. Go, right? And she goes, well, how is this going to work? I go, I'm going to go get the clients, and we're going to do the work. She goes, and they're going to pay us? I go, yes, right. Because what's the difference between us doing it for those companies and us doing it for ourselves?
That's right.
So that's how our little female-owned, operated business started. We worked for free.
Absolutely. Girl, let me tell you, I worked for free for many years.
Right.
And I know what that is, what that's like, right? And we're working for a dream. We're working for the light at the end of the tunnel, and more for, I'm going to speak for myself, I can't speak for you in here, more because I wanted something for me and to prove to me that I can do it, and I wasn't that F up that of the family, and like, you know, all through your divorces and all that. I'm the only divorcee in my family, right? And that haunted me for a long time, right? I was the one that not really religious, you know, the heathen, and I suffered through a lot of, I don't want to be the fuck up anymore, right? I want to be it, right? And in the beginning I did it for them, but now it's me. It's me. I want this for me. So I really, really get that. And I understand that. So tell us a little bit about your first book.
Well, Billy the Seed is a story I told my two daughters, Jackie and Jenny, when they were little. And it's about a little seed that just wants a home. It's super, super cute. And I've told that story for 35 years. And during COVID, my eldest daughter, Jackie, says, you know what, Ma, it's time.
Let's publish it.
Let's publish it. So those are all watercolor designs by Nancy. And that is my story. And we've done it in English and Spanish. And we just did it as a legacy piece. Okay, there. And I gave it to my daughters. It's dedicated to them. And it was a pure passion project. We put it on Amazon. And all of a sudden, little Billy got a life of its own. And Billy ended up in people's homes. And one thing after another, people started calling us and saying, can you do our book?
Yeah.
So and then we went from Nindy Design Studio to Nindy Publishing House, and now we have a portfolio of authors that'll blow your mind. Even my daughter is an author. You're holding her book there.
And so when we started this podcast, we're gonna go somewhere else with this. I'm so glad it went where it went. But Indy, the publishing house, dedicates itself, correct me if I'm wrong, to tell the stories that aren't being told.
Exactly.
To tell the stories of people of color, Latinas, because our stories aren't told by us, and when they're told, they're not even told by us or from the perspective that they should be. So here you're opening this space of, we need to tell our stories.
That's right.
And we need the safe space, and you've created this. Oh my God, amen.
And not to be afraid, to put pen to paper. The girl who couldn't write or read, right? And now I'm publishing books.
That's right.
I'm editing other people's stuff.
And I can tell you, somebody said, give a person a minority the space to thrive. Not only do we thrive, we take off, man. We take off. Here we go. So this is your daughter's.
So my daughter, as she's putting herself through college, she's a nanny, and these are the two boys that she's practically raised. She's been with them for 5 years, the family. And as a gift, she wrote a story. And she said, Ma, can you help? And of course, with pride.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we did that for her.
Oh, my God, absolutely. All right, let's talk about the award-winning book.
I know, this project, this is from a prosecuting attorney when she retired, decided she wanted to become an author. She found me through another author in Seattle because the books were sitting on her desk at work. She goes, oh my God, who did that? I got books in my head that I want. Oh, you got to call Indy. In Seattle, two women that don't even know. You got to call Indy. these Latin women that work for women like you. Oh yeah, of course. 8 books later. This is oh no, that's book 6 that you're holding.
Okay.
Right? And so she calls me yesterday, right before coming here, and she says, "Are you sitting down?" I go, "Yeah, what's up?" And she goes, "We just got a Gold Star Award for our book." She goes, "Girl, and the only way to get that is the illustrations got to be on point, the story has to be on point,
yeah.
the publishing has to be on point, and the audience needs to be mesmerized."
Oh.
So I cannot wait to put the gold star on that book.
So where can we buy these books?
They're all available on Amazon.
All right.
Or you can go
We will
to...
link the title of the books on our comments so you guys can go and get it. Daniel, can we link the links to Amazon on YouTube? Okay, so we'll link the actual links to this book on Amazon. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, I'm going to touch on something that you said. And pertains to beauty, and I get it, but I want to dive deeper because I think we've been able to have a pretty deep conversation.
Yes,
it's beautiful. I give you a compliment.
You get this stuff out of me. I'm over here crying, telling you my bit. It takes 2 drinks to tell somebody I've been divorced 6 times.
Ooh, you zero. So tell me, what do you do for self-care? Like, what made you feel pretty in your own skin? Now, what somebody else told you, but what made you?
Learning that I needed to know what self-care was.
Yes.
So one was learning to respect my sleep.
Okay.
Make sure that I get proper sleep.
That's right.
Super important. Really, I thought reading labels was for white girls. For rich people, because we didn't have choices. You ate what you were served. You ate what you could afford,
and you put on what you can afford.
Yeah, and you put on 7-Eleven or
Pond's. Not that we have anything against Pond's or whatever mom had in the cabinet. This is what you did.
Exactly. I couldn't afford makeup as a young girl or any kind of stuff. I used Dove soap on my face forever until my daughters are like, "Hello, Ma, you could take better care." So learning about sleep is super important, and that takes discipline because you have to, walk away from certain things. Like, I need to get my rest, people. Yeah. And then, reading labels and eating as whole of food as I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being active. But the number one thing was eliminating toxic people from my life.
Good for you. I get that. I don't think I have a toxic. No, maybe, but not maybe. I got to think about it a little harder. Yeah. But and then I get that, and not that it's a plug for Olivia's heritage product, but that was the main thing for Olivia's heritage product is that we had a product that's made from natural ingredients that you can read the label and know what it's about. Yay. So
I'm now worthy of your product. I'm so excited to learn more.
So that was the thing. I learned to read labels because I had this sick little kid that was allergic to everything, and I had to learn what made her trigger. And then I realized this shit's hard, right? What is this? And I decided to develop a product that you knew what the products were. So even when you use a scientific name, because we have to for labels, in parentheses, grapeseed oil, shea butter, olive oil, tangerine oil, things that we know and that you can technically eat, but not that's going to taste good, but it's not going to harm your skin because your organ is the largest. Your skin is your largest organ, so we have to respect that. So that's why self-care is so important. And I realized through the product that, self-care or personal care is self-care. Loving yourself, it also means what you put on it. Right. Is that important? So I am so amazed by you. Oh. I am so honored.
Oh. I'm honored to be here. I can, I can tell the quality of person that sits before me by the ability to use my voice. And I even forgot we're doing a podcast, by the way. So I'm kind of scared, but no. So thank you. Oh, because before me sits a woman that loves what she does and loves who she is, and you brought that out in me today. We met 5 minutes before you sat me here, by the way. We don't even know each other. Yeah. But I'm excited to learn more about your product because I don't really know much about.
Oh, we're going to change that.
Yes, yeah.
But, more importantly, to me, it's always important to showcase authenticity. And I think where you and I hit it off is we're pretty authentic, and it takes some bumps and bruises to get to
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
But we got here.
Yes,
and that's what we got to celebrate. And I said it at every podcast towards the end. Our goal is to show motivating people that we want to be like. And I always want to showcase somebody that inspires me, and I want to be like you. I want to be more like you. I want to be, as successful you, and not just monetarily successful in the way that you articulate, the way you express yourself, the way you're able to tell stories. It's amazing. And we want to motivate any young girl out there that wants to write, that wants to tell her story.
Yes.
And the fun part here is you're such a great storyteller. And it was so much fun.
My
Time has
pleasure.
flown. And I think this is our longest podcast but it's okay because it's so entertaining and so much fun. And this is what we want to showcase, and our strength, and together we're stronger. I know it's a cliche, and everybody, many of us say this, but this is the truth. And this is just a little picture of it, right? Together we can be stronger and lift one another. Yeah. And I'm just so honored and proud to uplift you and give you the platform
Thank you so much.
Have.
Thank you so much.
Again, audience, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you see this the whole way through, and I hope you take in what was said, and a lot was said. We might edit some of it, so we're going to get back to that. But this is real. This is two women being raised in bilingual household, bicultural household, and navigating two different worlds. And I've said it before in another podcast. This is our gift. This is what makes us strong. We're bicultural, bilingual. We can toggle between both of these worlds. And every child of an immigrant that sees this is our superpower.
That's right.
This is our superpower, that we're able to do all this.
That's right.
So thank you so much for tuning in, and leave any comments, any questions. We'll try to get to them. And thank you again. And thank you.
Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart.
Oh my God. My pleasure. Bye.